come on.
Like, we dying regardless.
We dying regardless.
Yeah.
You know, the little side story. I went to the Marine Corps 8 years, no war. I got my first combat action ribbon in Oakland, California.
Wow.
Real shit.
Wow.
Shootout. 4 firefights one night. But that's a whole nother story.
Wow. Okay. I'm glad you added that, because I really wanted to ask you about that, because I had just seen Boys in Hood, and I'm like, let me see what Gerald thinks
That's a great
about
question.
that point of view, because it came from John Singleton, but I've also heard black people in my lifetime say that.
Yes.
It's the white man's war. It's the white man's war. It ain't our war. So I'm glad you gave a little bit more information on it. But let's get into it.
Okay.
Soldier Story, 1984. It's Columbia Pictures. It's written by Charles Fuller, directed by Norman Jewison, starring Howard Rollins as Captain Richard Davenport. Adolph Caesar is Sergeant Waters. We got a lot of shit to say about Adolph Caesar. But that dude was no joke.
And he was brilliant as an actor.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We got Art Evans as Wilkie. We got Denzel Washington as Melvin Peterson. Got Robert Townsend as Corporal Ellis. Yeah. Ellis.
Your cousin. You got your cousin in the movie.
David Allen Greer is Bernard Cobb. And David Harris is Tony Smalls. The budget was $6 million. It made $21 million at the box office, which is not bad for 1984.
Yeah. Real tough.
And talking about black soldiers in the military. It's not bad.
Not at all.
And the music was done by legendary producer Herbie Hancock. So that's also a good thing. So we're going to get into the opening scene. So it starts off at a local juke joint. And the first thing you see on the screen is Patti LaBelle. Singing her ass off.
In her heyday, too.
She was in her prime. She was giving them a concert in that juke joint.
Yes.
She was giving them a concert. And they was loving it. Them soldiers was loving it. They was all getting liquored up and everything. And she's playing Big Mary.
Yes.
That's her role, is Big Mary. And you see Sergeant Waters in there getting like pissy drunk.
Yeah.
He drunk.
Right. Yeah. And he gotta be.
He drunk. And for those who don't know, Sergeant Waters is only about 120 pounds. He a little dude. And he drinking up a storm. So you know if he ain't ate no food, it's going right into him. And also to go back into it, this is Tynan, Louisiana, 1944, World War II.
Correct.
That's the space that we're in. So it basically Sergeant Waters is walking down the street. Everybody's seeing him pissy drunk. He's falling all over the place. He goes into the darkness, and then they cut the scene until he's getting shot.
Correct.
He's getting shot by somebody. We don't know who the killer is. He gets shot after he says, "But they still hate you," and that's very important in this movie.
Big piece.
That's a big piece that he's saying, they still hate you. And I love that scene. It's like, for him to bring that much emotion into that part, knowing this is his final scene in the movie. He got snot coming out of his nose, his eyes is watering, like he's crying, he's stumbling, and he's still delivering the lines like Shakespeare.
He
delivered, bro.
Shout out to Adolph Caesar, man.
Adolph Caesar, man. And unfortunately, Adolph Caesar didn't live but a couple of years after this movie. I think he died in the 80s. He'd been gone a long time.
Yeah.
But he was a great actor.
Yeah. I think he brought a lot more to that because he played on the stage adaptation of the movie too.
He did.
So he really brought them chops and let that go in the movie. So I think that's just what made the part so much.
Oh my God. I don't see how this movie goes without Adolph.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Without him in it, I don't see who you can replace, who can do what he did. And, off subject, I gotta kind of say, I grew up with a father that was almost like Adolph. My dad was serious.
Mr. Ellis.
Younger days,
Mr. Ellis is no joke.
Around. Buzz cut.
Yes.
He was also a military man in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
Buzz cut the whole shit. Mm-hmm. My dad also, similar to Adolph, like he despised black people who made the black race look bad. He did not like motherfuckers like that.
Right.
He just did not.
Right.
Now, he went as far as Adolf did, like getting shot and killed and having them hang themselves. But my father was a old Texas black man. And if
Spit
you
and
ain't,
polish.
yeah, if you ain't providing positive influence to the black community, you don't belong in the black community. That's just the way he thought about it.
That's it. Mr. Ellis is, man, I know hands up. You couldn't walk in your house and be shabby. You couldn't do it, you know? And I'm not talking about in appearance. I'm talking about in character.
In character.
Without getting checked.
When you walked in my dad's house as a man, you had to walk in as a man.
Yes, sir.
And if you walked in as a child, you had to have manners.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You wasn't running through the Ellis house.
No, you weren't.
You wasn't making hella noise.
No, you weren't. You sat at the table with your feet under it. Just like put your elbows on the table. You know.
Pops did not play. So I kind of understand Adolph's idea of like, yo, man, you know, we're trying to get some recognition and respect from these white people.
Yes.
And certain guys who he was calling Geechees.
Right.
You making us look stupid. You stepping in fetchits and you making us look stupid. So I understand that point of view as we go on. I understand it. So the sergeant gets killed and they never show the face of the killer, but because of the time frame that we're in, everybody on the base assumes it was the KKK.
Correct.
That's the easy answer.
Yeah, correct. And as it should be, because again, we're dealing with race relations at that time. And I know I'm mixing up a little bit of history, but you know, summer race riots in Chicago. I mean, there's race riots going on all over the country.
Yeah. Boston
regardless,
had them, Chicago, Oakland had them.
Yes.
LA, Watts had them.
Yes. And this is in the 40s. We're not talking about the 60s. Yeah. I mean, they're lynching folks still at this time. Mm-hmm. You know, a little quick side note. I remember in my service day, I was in North Carolina in 2000, and I call home and my mother is like, oh my God, thank you. Because she heard over the news in North Carolina about a black Marine being lynched.
Ooh.
In the year 2000.
Could you imagine how that feels to her mom?
Yeah, absolutely.
She heard from me, but then she gets this news.
Right. Right.
You don't even know if it's you.
Right. I mean, you know, but yeah, so again, microcosm of society, right? Yeah. And the world still goes on whether you serve it or not. Yeah. And unfortunately, everybody doesn't respect the fact that you earned the right to wear this uniform. And as in the movie, they really captured that sentiment. Yeah. Just because you got, you know, you have put your life on the line, you signed that contract, we still don't think you worthy of it. Yeah. And we will take you out.
Yeah. As the movie went on, it got ugly.
Yeah.
So now we get to the scene of Captain Davenport being on a bus, being shipped in to Louisiana, to Tynan, the city of Tynan. And he's a captain with stripes and everything. And the bus driver's like, hey, boy.
Yeah.
Ain't this your